Hello, and today we have another RA Group webcast for you. Tomorrow we have the 13th episode for our Future of Hospitality series. It's the Culture and Community Special with Sonia, who is RA Group's Head of Coffee and Community. Today, though, we have our very own Chef Ian Human showing us how to build the perfect summer salads. Don't forget to send through your questions. Now, over to you, Ian.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to show you two salads today, both really easy. One is a smoked mackerel salad with ricotta, pickled red onions, and smashed peas. And the other one is a bacon, asparagus, and beetroot salad, and that goes with an orange and caraway dressing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just demonstrate 5 different aspects of the salads, and once you finish that, we'll build the salads together. So the first thing I'd like to show you is pickled red onions. These are super easy to make. They are delicious in any salad. They will last in your fridge in the pickling liquor for a good 2 to 3 weeks. So how we do that is we take some sliced red onion, literally just like that, into a pot, and I'm going to cover that with boiling water. And all that really does, it just takes away the edge of that onion, so you kind of lose that sort of little, oniony tart flavor. Literally a stir. I'm then going to strain that, and that goes like that. It goes into a bowl. So it's not really like blanching. It's literally a couple of seconds. And then we're going to make the pickling liquor. So pickling liquor is traditionally, it's normally based on 3, 2, and 1. So it's 3 parts water, 2 parts vinegar, 1 part sugar. I'm going to go slightly higher with the acidity, so I'm going to go 2 parts of vinegar. We've got a little bit of residual water on the onion, so I'm not going to add any water. I'm adding 200 mils of red wine vinegar and 100 grams of sugar. And then obviously very important, a little bit of salt. And then from here on in, you can literally add numerous different seeds. So you can add fennel seeds, nigella seeds, coriander seeds, black peppercorns, herbs of great, bay leaf, tarragon, parsley, thyme, rosemary, all those kind of things will give a really nice different sort of dimension to your pickling liquor. So red wine vinegar and sugar in, and I'm now going to add some coriander seeds. But like I say, if you wanted to add a combination, coriander and fennel, coriander and cardamom, anything like that's great. And all you really want to do is bring that to a boil. I'm on an induction hob here, so that's pretty quick, just to dissolve your sugar, and that's it. While the vinegar is hot, that gets poured on top of the onions, and you let that sit. So that'll take approximately 10 minutes to be ready. And thereafter, if it sits overnight, it'll be really, the flavors will enhance, super delicious. And that'll sit comfortably in your fridge for, as I said, for 2 to 3 weeks. And it's great. You can add that into, you can bond that onto any salads, onto coleslaw, or even a piece of grilled sourdough with some cheddar cheese and pickled onions. Really great. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to make some croutons for our smoked mackerel salad. And for that, I'm going to be using pita bread. You can use white or whole wheat, and you simply split them in half, just like that, onto a tray, and then a little bit of olive oil. And these are going to go into the oven at 190 for 6 minutes. So you want to get them nice and toasted and crispy. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to sprinkle some Za'atar spice in. Za'atar is kind of a Middle Eastern spice. It's made from a dry berry called sumac, which has got kind of a lemony, quite a sharp flavor, dried oregano and thyme, and then some sesame seeds. So you sprinkle that on quite liberally. That's going to give a nice flavor as well. I mean, I find pita bread, they're quite forgiving in a salad. They don't tend to absorb the juice of the salad or the dressing, and they stay crispy for quite a long time. So, and they look great as well compared to your traditional crouton. So they can obviously, they're going to go into the mackerel salad, but they can go into any salad really. So that in the oven, 6 minutes, 190, fan assisted. Right, the next thing we're going to do are the smashed peas. So we use frozen peas for that. If you want to use fresh, pick them, that's absolutely fine. And these are frozen. I have defrosted these and blanched them for 1 minute. That's just to release the starches, make them slightly sweeter and slightly more palatable. So I put them in a kiln jar, and I'm going to break them down. You can use a NutriBullet, you can use a potato masher. I'm just going to use a Bamix, and what you really want to just lightly crush them up, not too much. You want to give them a little bit of bite, and that should do this. I tried this earlier. I was doing a couple of trial runs. I put them in a shallow bowl, used that Bamix, and the peas went absolutely everywhere in the kitchen. So I thought I'd be safe with this kiln jar. So those are great as they are. Of course, you want to add a little bit of salt into that, a touch of pepper, and then I'm going to add to that now a little bit of chopped dill, fresh dill, which will obviously work beautifully with the mackerel. And then I've got some chopped mint, and of course, you know, peas and mint, delicious. And finally, a little bit of olive oil. I say finally, I've got still lemon to add. So a bit of olive oil, and then some lemon zest, just to give a little bit of zing to the crushed peas.
Mr. Human, we've had a first question in. Where would you suggest to get herbs and spices from?
Herbs, well, any supermarket really. I think, you know, Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, they're pretty much stock all of them. Spices, I tend to, when I want to buy spices, I tend to go to the Asian shops, simply because you get a lot more for your money. They taste, yeah, I mean, whether they taste better is, you know, is debatable, but I think I always try and go for, yeah, to the Asian shops for spices. Right, so that's your crushed, so your smashed peas. So super tasty. I'll just hold it up to the camera so you can see. So you've got a bit of texture in there. You've got some crushed as well. There's kind of a nice mix.
So you've left that quite coarse, Ian, yeah?
Yeah, quite coarse, absolutely. So the next thing we're going to do is do the ricotta. So ricotta is obviously another nice creamy addition to a salad. This ricotta is obviously a very mild cheese. So what we're going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of, if I say attitude to the ricotta, just going to spice it up a bit. So I've got some more lemon zest into that. I'm also putting into that some olive oil, just to make it slightly creamier for a better mouthfeel. Probably about 2 tablespoons. This is just a 250-gram block of ricotta. Some salt, always a bit of seasoning. And then what I do have is I'm going to add a little bit of dry chili. So this is Aleppo chili, which is quite mild actually, but it's got a really nice sort of fragrant, sort of peppery feel. And then all you want to do then is just mix that up, and the olive oil will kind of emulsify into the ricotta quite quickly. And that just gives.
What other oils could you potentially use instead of olive oil?
Right, so you could definitely use any flavor. I mean, I suppose you could use rapeseed, but any flavored oils would be delicious in that. So lemon oil, basil oil, chili oil. Yeah, and then otherwise, you know, just a good virgin olive oil would be fine. But yeah, you can add. There's quite a few different ones you could add there just to give it a different flavor once again.
And why would you use a good quality oil like that instead of a vegetable oil or a sunflower oil?
I definitely think with a good quality virgin olive oil, I think you can taste it in the ricotta cheese. I think it comes to, because the ricotta is so mild, I think a good quality, you know, peppery, grassy olive oil, I think that will come through with the ricotta because it's such a mild cheese.
Yeah.
Cool. So now the next thing we're going to do, so the pita bread we're baking is I'm going to be making the dressing for the beetroot and bacon salad. So frying pan on the stove. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm using smoked streaky bacon, and I'm using the really thin ones. They cook quite quickly, and I think they're quite nice in a salad. If you want to use, you know, if you've got an event where if you've got friends around and you're standing up, I think it's quite easy. You can just sort of break the back of the bacon as opposed to the big pieces. And I quite like it. It's quite a nice sort of you know, sort of mouthfeel. So for this salad for 2 people, I'm using 8 rashers of bacon, which I think, I mean, they're quite small, and they will basically shrivel up quite quickly. And what you want to do is you want to get those nice and crispy.
Ian, we've got a question about the za'atar. Can you make your own? And if you can't, why wouldn't you?
No, you absolutely can make it, absolutely, for sure. In fact, if you buy Za'atar, you know, if you go across the Middle East, I'm pretty sure Za'atar will vary hugely from area to area. I mean, the basic ingredients, as I said, are the sumac, sesame seed, dried herbs. But I think, you know, wherever you go, there'll be different ratios of thyme versus the oregano or the marjoram rather, different quantities of sumac. So no, you absolutely can make your own. Yeah, there's no problem with that. I think a lot of supermarkets now, I picked it up from my local supermarket. So yeah, very easy to get hold of. Okay, so I was going to quickly just talk to you through about the beetroot. So the beetroot, I've got fresh, raw beetroot. I always think they're much better than the backpack stuff. And these are being roasted. So individually wrapped in foil, 190 degrees, 1 hour. Allow them to cool. The skin will just peel off very easily. And then I've just cut them into sort of wedges. And what I'm going to do when the bacon's ready is I'm going to make the dressing in the pan and add that to the beetroot. But the flavor, I think, of slow roasted beetroot like that compared to the bottle stuff or the backpack stuff is huge, absolutely huge. So it's definitely worthwhile investing in that. So bacon won't take long to cook at all. And we don't want sort of long, neat pieces. We want to kind of smash it up a bit.
Did you switch the bacon for pancetta, maybe, Ian, or chorizo?
Yes, definitely. Diced pancetta would be delicious as well. That's my pita bread. Hang on a second. So I'm just going to show you the pita bread. It basically looks like that. So nicely toasted. I'm going to put them in for 2 more minutes. I want it slightly darker. Yes, you can use pancetta. You could probably use back bacon if you wanted as well. You can dice that up. That would also be absolutely fine. In fact, you know, even things like, I guess, Parma ham, if that was raw, you could pop that in. But the idea of what we're doing with this dressing is that we're going to take the bacon out, and then we're going to make our dressing in that pan with the sort of the residual fat from the bacon. So one thing I wanted to mention is that the dressing is obviously best served at room temperature, or even slightly warm, just so that obviously if it goes into the fridge, that fat from that bacon can sort of congeal and become sort of quite unpleasant to eat. So definitely warm, but the flavor that that's going to give off into the dressing will be delicious. So bacon's basically ready, and I'm just going to take that off. And I'm going to leave that fat in the pan. And to that, what we're going to add is caraway seeds. Caraway seeds seem to be sort of more of an old-fashioned seed. You use for things like cabbage and I guess goes into bread, but such a lovely flavor, especially with beetroot and bacon. And then I'm going to add to those caraway seeds a teaspoon of chopped garlic. And all you really want to do is let that become fragrant, which literally takes 10 seconds. So that's in. You can already smell. Smells absolutely delicious. We can't do any virtual smells, can we? No, huh? And then I deglaze the pan with some orange juice. I'm going to add to that a teaspoon of grain mustard. You can add Dijon if you wanted to, English, even French. I quite like grain. And then a tablespoon of honey. And all you really want to do is just bring that to the boil. And then don't forget just a little bit of salt and pepper, always salt and pepper. And because it's in a frying pan, it's going to reduce relatively quickly. And you kind of want to get that into, I guess, like a sort of a saucing consistency. Right, pita bread's definitely done. So I'm going to allow those to cool. The dressing, I'll give it another 30 seconds.
So Ian, what have you been up to lately? I know your wife's been doing Pilates classes online. Have you been getting involved as well?
Absolutely. The vinyasa, downward facing dog, the whole 9 yards, I am roped into that. So yeah, I have been keeping fit with Pilates. In fact, I have to say, I'm not boasting, I did do a 2.5 minute plank yesterday in a Pilates class. So I was quite impressed with myself. It's the longest I've ever held it. Anyway, dressing is now done. So that's obviously thickened up quite nicely. As you'll notice, There's no vinegar in that, but the orange juice is quite acidic. And that just goes on top of the beetroot. Give it a little bit of a stir just to make sure everything's coated. And that is basically all the preparation that we're going to do for the salads. Everything else is pretty much chopped. What I'd like to do now is to talk you through the plating, the building up of these salads. So I'm just going to pop that in the sink.
So Ian, we've done lots of training over the last couple of months or previous months of the importance about building, constructing and plating food. What would you say the key objective is when you're doing those sort of things, Ian? Well,
I think, David, the key part of it is what you want to do is you want to layer up and kind of imagine someone eating it, how that's gonna work. You know, very often you will see, I don't know if you go to like, I guess, a hotel and they've got things like a Caesar salad. Invariably, there's a massive amount of lettuce, and then the dressing goes on top, croutons on top, cheese on top, whatever other garnishes, anchovies. I mean, the first 5 people, they've got an amazing time. They'll eat all the nice bits and pieces, and then the second half of the people coming to that salad are just going to leave. So it's very important to, as you build the salad, imagine that from the very first person eating that salad to the very last person, they're going to have that same experience, tasting all the elements of that salad. So we're going to start plating up now, and we started with a smoked mackerel salad. The first thing that goes on the plate is a bit of Roquette, which I have washed, I hasten to add, 3 times. So the Roquette goes on. And then our croutons. So as you can see, that's quite a nice snap to that. The croutons go on the salad, making a bit of a mess and wipe my board down.
You like a nice tidy kitchen, Ian?
Absolutely, absolutely. Then your smoked mackerel. So this mackerel, it's obviously from the supermarket. I haven't smoked it myself. It's just plain mackerel. It's not peppered or anything like that. That gets layered down. So as you can see, basically, you add individual elements, and then I'm probably going to repeat those again. So the next item I'm going to add to that is the ricotta. As you can see, I'm going to step back a bit. There we go. Is that better?
What other fish could you use instead of mackerel, Ian?
Well, smoked salmon would be good. Gravlax. You could probably do nice cured, some nice cured mackerel will be quite good as well. So that's the ricotta. The next thing is the peas. So the other thing I wanted to mention, which is quite key when you're considering sort of creating your own salads, is to make sure that your salads have what I call them the 5 flavor profiles. So you're basically wanting sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and crunch. And you think about this salad here, that's basically got all the elements. So you've got sweet, yes, the peas you could say are sweet. Salty would be your fish. That's also got, there's a smoked element there as well, so it's almost like a double bonus. The crunch is your pita bread. Sour would be your onions. These are the pickled red onions. They've gone quite, as you can see, they go beautifully pink.
So how do you come up with these recipes, Ian? What's your sort of inspiration for them?
Ooh, they probably cribbed from online. No. Well, no, I very much cook, things that I like to eat, that I enjoy. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of what I know. Obviously, just things that work well, and the whole sort of sweet, sour, salty, bitter crunch thing, that plays a massive part. I believe apparently that's how McDonald's created the Big Mac, and they're a relatively successful company, or so I've been told. So they've obviously got something. If you think about that burger, that's obviously got all those elements. So it was that there. And then what I'm going to do, just to finish that salad off, is I'm going to put a little bit of lemon zest. And for me, I don't think the salad really needs a dressing per se. You've got some vinegar on the onions, got a lovely tasty ricotta, lovely tasty garden peas. I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil on top of that.
Ian, if you were doing a vegetarian salad, what would you replace the fish and the bacon with?
Oh, good question. I mean, look, to be fair, I'm not even sure that it actually needs a replacement if you take the fish away. But you could add, what about some roasted, I was going to say roasted feta, but then you've got ricotta cheese.
Squash, courgettes, grilled courgettes.
Grilled courgettes would be fantastic. Roasted onions even. That's it. So I'm putting a couple of these sprigs. No, sprigs are a bit old hat of mint, but these are from the garden. They're still quite tender and still delicious to eat. So that's the first salad that I've done. I'm going to pop that one. So there's space for 2 plates on this thing. That is the first salad. Second salad, as it is the beetroot. So I'm using endive for that. This actually, for a while, you couldn't really get this from the supermarkets, but this came across as very easily. I mean, I love endive. It's beautiful. It's got a really, really, lovely flavor. Obviously bitter, but works very, very well in a salad with other ingredients. So really great, and obviously it looks stunning as well. And there's very little wastage. Whatever you get is sort of, you can eat the whole thing. So what I've done is I've taken off the outer leaves, and then the inner ones I have just shredded down a bit. So I'm going to put those in just to give a different texture once again.
Ian, as you say, endive is a very bitter leaf, and it obviously going back to the balance of flavours, which is really important on constructing a dish. What else could you use if you couldn't get endive from the supermarket?
I guess you could use radicchio, watercress I would use.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose rocket as well you could use. So this is the beetroot. So obviously these have been beautifully dressed in a tasty dressing, and I'll probably put a bit more dressing on at the very end. So that's that. Then the bacon.
Smells great.
So such a nice salad. I mean, I'm a big fan of wasn't sort of cured pork, but it's delicious. And then the oranges as well. So orange and beetroot obviously work very well. And then once again, if you think about the flavor profile, you've got some really great things in here. You've got the crunch, the saltiness of the bacon, the sweet beetroot, sweet oranges, all work really, really well together. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to add a few more bits. And that probably as a salad is good to go. But I'm going to add a few more elements to that. I've got some raw beetroot that I've just sliced on a mandolin. I'm going to pop those in. It's quite nice to have the cooked beetroot against the crunchy raw beetroot. And then I'm a massive fan of chili. So I'm going to put these are these Dutch chilies that I've just taken the seeds out and sliced them. And these are really, really great because, when you have a salad, you might have a bite with no chili in, then you might have, a big mouth of chili. So it's really nice. Obviously, once again, it goes back to that building a salad. When you eat it, you've got this thing called palate fatigue. When you eat something like a coleslaw, and every mouthful tastes the same. But with these salads, as you eat, each mouthful is going to taste differently. I've also got just a few pumpkin seeds. So they're going to go on there. And then I want this plate.
I'm loving your little mise en place setup, Ian.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's it. That's the key for a organized. And then I actually forgot the star of the show, would you believe, which I'm going to put on now, and that is asparagus. So this is obviously English, dare I say anything else. And I've simply blanched the asparagus. So the asparagus you could potentially, if you've got the barbecue on, I mean, asparagus on the barbecue, I just think it's amazing. You could pan fry it. I've probably got a bit overboard with the salad. I mean, that's loads of ingredients, probably 9 elements there, but it's going to be delicious nonetheless. And then I think, as he says, too many ingredients. He's about to add one more. I guess there's no when to stop, right? But I just got a bit carried away. So I'm putting a few sliced radishes with this. I love radishes. I think they're underutilized. These haven't been dressed at all. They've got a nice, almost sort of vaguely sweet, bitter, crunchy, peppery feel to them. So yeah, I think that's probably quite a few items. And so you don't, as you could have stopped earlier on, those 3 things, bacon, orange and beetroot, delicious. But of course we've got English asparagus on there, and I'm going to put a bit of olive oil on, but I wouldn't worry about any, any more excess dressing. I'm going to put a little bit of dressing on. How are we doing for time? Are we doing quite well, actually? I'm going to put a little bit more of this dressing on from the beetroot.
Ian, would you recommend using any other beets like baby or golden, candy?
Yeah, you see them from time to time in the shops, and definitely I like golden beet. I think they look amazing, especially when they're raw and sliced. Yeah. So these are the salads. That's basically it. Are there any questions?
Do you want to lift them up closer to the screen, Ian?
We did say that we're going to do that. There we go. So there we go. You've got your pita bread, smoked mackerel, pickled red onions, ricotta cheese, and rocket at the base. And just finish with a bit of fresh mint and some olive oil. And then the other salad is your beetroot, bacon, orange, asparagus. And I finished that off with some radishes, some chopped chilies, and pumpkin seeds. So there you've got your sweet, sour, savory, salty, bitter, and crunch. And
so we have one last thing. The 3 top secrets for building a phenomenal salad. The 3 takeaways that people can write down and remember. What are they, would you say? Well, definitely, I think layering is key. So as I said to you, you don't want the whole sort of Caesar salads example that I gave you. So building a salad that when everyone, comes to eat the salad, they can get a bit of everything. So that definitely that. And then obviously considering those flavor profiles. I think a crunch is very important in a salad. So you've got obviously so many different things, seeds, nuts, croutons, that sort of thing. And then I think obviously the visual aspect is very important. So very often what I tend to do, so with this salad, for example, I put mint sprigs in, but there's mint in the peas. So just think, if you put that bit of mint in there at the very end, it kind of lifts the salad a bit. So visuals and color, those 3 things, I would say those are the 3 important things to pop in when you're building salads.
That's great. Ian, we've had a couple of people asking for more salads and potentially vegetarian salads next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I normally actually make vegetarian salads. I just decided today to add some proteins to them because they can be eaten as a standalone meal. I mean, that for 2 people, would be delicious for dinner. So yeah, I mean, I can leave these at the front door. If anybody wants to swing by later on, I live in Buckinghamshire, we can definitely divvy out some salad. But yeah, absolutely, salads are fine. That's great. Really good work, Ian. Thank you very much. Thank you, David. Beautiful. Excellent.
Perfect. Well, that's everything from us today. Thank you so much, Ian. I can't wait to make some of these salads with my braai at the weekend. I do hope you will join us for the Community and Culture Special tomorrow. Meanwhile, for more information about our programme of discussions, please go to RA Group's website at www.ragroup.co.uk/news to download the broadcast links. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or suggestions about how you can get involved, please email gavin.goody@ragroup.co.uk. Anyway, thank you for joining us today. Have a fantastic afternoon and see you tomorrow, same time, same place.